Hi, hello, good afternoon. It is the 15th of December 2025, and I have still not been told whether or not my Section 21 is legal and how my homeless application is being moved forward. Now, I've just watched on the TV Martin Lewis. If you don't know who Martin Lewis is, he's the gentleman who does the money saving um like Facebook page, Facebook website. So, money saving expert is kind of what he is. And he's just spoken about how all of these new changes that are coming into play with anyone who is on universal credit or is on the old legacy benefits who is now going to be forced to go onto UC. Now, there's loads and loads of conflicting information and people's opinions about universal credit. I literally went into an estate agent as well this afternoon and I asked them point blankly to their face, look, I'm on universal credit, like most parents who are entitled to working tax or child tax credit is now under the umbrella of UC. Just because I'm claiming universal credit to get my child tax credits or my working tax credit or whatever doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to pay my rent if I rent somewhere else now that I've been Section 21. And they basically told me to my face that there is no reason as to why I should be refused a property in the rental market just because I'm on UC. Because there are so many people on UC nowadays, and for me to be refused a property just because I'm on UC is basically discrimination. So, anyway, Martin Lewis has just said about the other way people are being discriminated is by when you are looking at changing your bank account. So, when banks say something like, if you switch to our bank tomorrow or within the next 2 to 4 months, we'll pay you. Wouldn't be my video without a yawn. And a lot of banks do this. They do this scheme and they offer these schemes for students, for people who are retired, for people who may want a mortgage. It's, hey, we've got this offer on at the moment. We've got the highest APR rating. The lowest APR rating. We've got the highest interest rates. And people will want to have that choice, to have the option to say, you know what, if I do bank with so and so instead of who I'm with now, why don't I change my bank account, get my £250, or if I change my mortgage and it is with somebody else, then I might save myself some money or save some money. But what he's just basically said is, in order for anyone to do that, who is on benefits, which are now primarily universal credit, you can't just go and change your bank details. You have physically got to have an appointment with your local branch, your local bank. Sorry, not your local bank, your local job centre. Even though all of your universal credit information is online and is paperless, they will still make you go in to your local job centre after filling in your universal credit online account, which I haven't even been into for over 2 months, purely because there has been no change in my circumstances and I've not needed to log in. But if I was to change my bank account, I would have to log in to say, I'm looking at changing my bank account. This is a new bank I want to bank with. This is going to be my new bank details. And then you have to go in to the DWP local branch and fill in loads of paperwork, see a coach and bring in the necessary documentation, your new bank account details, your old bank account details, etc. Well, the one thing Martin Lewis hasn't mentioned is how potentially could you get around not having to do that, but still being able to change your bank account? Do it before you are on UC. So you have two options. You could either look at switching your bank account before claiming universal credit, and if you're still on the old legacy benefits. Or when you get your letter from the Department of Work and Pensions and it says, "Dear Mr. Smith, we are writing to inform you that you will no longer be able to claim the following benefits, as those benefits are no longer going to exist. You now must claim universal credit." What is then stopping Mr. Smith saying, "Okay, I've had this letter from Universal Credit. I will phone up Citizens Advice, who will talk me through how to claim universal credit from my old legacy benefits and make sure that I am being paid correctly and that you do get what they call the transitional payments, which do stop at some point. I don't know when. But they're not saying, you know what, I'm not going to bank with Bank A anymore. I'm going to bank with Bank B because I've just seen a big sign in their window saying, if you look at changing your bank account to our bank, we're going to pay you £250 for doing so. So what's stopping Mr. Smith saying, okay, I'm with Bank A and I've been on Job Seekers Allowance. I've now been told I can't claim Job Seekers Allowance anymore. It no longer exists. So when I put in my online application for universal credit, I won't use Bank A anymore. I'm not even going to mention Bank A details. I'm going to use Bank B. So when you fill in the online information for universal credits, and then you go into your meeting with the universal credit work coach that you are then given, you don't have to tell them about Bank A details because they won't exist anymore. Not if you've closed down the account. You would give them Bank B details. You have then been rewarded this £250 in money, and you've only had to fill out the paperwork with universal credit once. So I think, Martin Lewis should have been saying, yep, I totally agree. It is an absolute bitch that if you're on benefits and you want to change your bank account details, why should you be penalised when, if you were working for somebody, you wouldn't necessarily be. But that's not true. I've worked for companies, and whenever I've changed my bank details for whatever reason, so that I can continue to be paid, I have had to fill out a form for personnel, for payroll, to give them my new bank details. And again, I've had to prove that this is me, this is my national insurance number, this is my bank account details, this is my proof that I work for you, this is my PAYE number, this is the tax code I'm on, this is how much national insurance I'm paying, here's an old bank statement, here's my new bank details, and here's an old pay slip to prove that I'm a member of staff. So where there's a will, there's a way. But I think what he was trying to point out was, there's so many different ways that you bank nowadays, and you do have to be careful, because the last thing you want is to not be paid or it be something fraudulent and, you lose money. But it does clearly and concisely say somewhere on the Department of Work and Pensions website, you must tell us of any of the following changes. And one of those changes is changing your bank account. So you can't just change your account and hope that they're going to pay you. It's not going to work. It's the same with an employer. So, yeah, I agree. You're going to have to take a day off work. But you can book that appointment. So book it for a day when you're not going to be at work. But the best way of doing it, in my opinion, would be the moment you know that you're going to be transferred on to Universal Credit, either take the offer that Bank B is offering you to leave Bank A and do it before you go on UC, and then you have to submit all of your bank details. Or, if you've already transitioned, you'd only have to give the Department of Work and Pensions your new bank details anyway, which you would have to give in order for them to pay you and to also check that you don't have any more than £6,000 in savings. But please, obviously, if in doubt, make sure that you speak to the Citizens Advice Bureau or the Department of Work and Pensions, and they will support you. I mean, I've literally had to change my bank account details recently for my son's benefits. And they have sent us a letter saying, if you're going to change your bank details, you need to fill in this paperwork and bring it to bring it to your local branch of the job seekers department for Universal Credit, and we will submit it online. Even though disability living allowance is not part of Universal Credit, it's a separate benefit altogether. Again, they have still contacted me and said, we've heard you want to change your bank account details. Please can you firm this in writing and fill out this paperwork? So again, it's to avoid any risk of fraud. It's to make sure that it was actually me they spoke to and not just somebody ringing up pretending to be me, which could happen on the phone. And fingers crossed, by the end of the month, everything will be sorted and my son's benefits will now be in another bank account so that his money does not get confused with Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council as being my money, which they are trying to get me to use in order to rehouse myself, instead of supporting me as someone who is on benefits, who has their own illness and disability, who takes care of their child, who has his own illness and disability, and therefore his money that he gets from the government, that is his money. It's not mine. So why would I use and steal money from my child to pay for a house? I wouldn't. I would use my money. I'm his mum. It is my job to house him. It's my job to support him. The money he gets for being disabled, that is his money. It is under his national insurance number, not mine. And it is the money that the government have clearly stated that he is being awarded for being born with an illness and a disability that affect him on a daily basis. So that money is to help him with his daily needs. And I know one of those daily needs is that he needs a roof over his head, that he needs warmth, that he needs food, that he needs shelter. But he's 10. Okay? If he was 18, it'd be different kettle of fish. I would probably say, you know what? If he was still living at home with me and he was 18 and he was on personal independent payments and he was told he would never be able to work a day in his life, which I don't believe for 1 minute that will happen, then yeah, I would say to him, okay, you know, you will pay a percentage of the bills for the property because he's an adult. But at the moment, he is a child. And I am not going to steal money from my son all because the rental market has become absolutely crazy, and you've got people out there who are expecting almost up to £2,000 a month in renting a house that's a 2-bed, where the energy performance rating is below a D. All right, if you want me to rent your house for over £2,000 a month, I would expect your energy rating to be C and above. And for that kind of money, I wouldn't be expecting to see cables hanging from the walls or internal and external structural damage due to dodgy pipework and unpoorly maintained guttering, which is what I'm already living in. And a company or a landlord who decides, I'm not going to service your boiler for 3 years. So if you are looking at changing your bank account, which is the main reason this video was done, yes, you are going to have to tell the DWP about it, but if you time it right, you're only going to have to do it once. So I hope this has been useful. And if not, go on the money saving website, speak to Citizens Advice, speak to the Department of Work and Pensions, and see what information and advice they can give you. Enjoy your evening.